This is a song I've been threatening to do for years. Finally getting around to it. And there were a lot of delays because I was torn between doing just a kind of an accompaniment version like this or doing a whole solo version. The solo version is going to wait. I figure there's enough stuff to get started on with Wrapped Around Your Finger to really get rolling on it, and then there'll be possibly, pretty likely, a second lesson doing it something like this. Anyway, we're going to save that for another day, because I did want to get started on some of the things that you're going to have to be able to do to just play this and sing it. So what we're going to do is look at what I played right there, the first thing I played, which would be is a nice way to introduce it on acoustic guitar. Now, of course, when the band plays this or Sting plays this, it's got a lot of people doing a lot of things, and so as a solo accompaniment guitar thing, there are a lot of parts we have to incorporate. So we're going to be talking about the chord progression first. It's basically pretty simple: A minor and E minor 7 with a kind of offbeat rhythm. We're going to be doing this all with fingers, light strumming like that, hitting some bass notes, and then I also used some of the invisible pick technique right there on that opening chord, because I want the sound of my nail to really bring it out. So, invisible pick, meaning putting your thumb and index finger together and using the nails, your index for the down and your thumbnail for the up, getting the sound of a pick. Doesn't allow you to play scales very well. Comes out a little sloppy, but it works really well for this song. And then we'll incorporate the parts that are played on different instruments. We'll have what Andy played in the little chorus, some of his little fills. We'll get that in there, and I think that, well, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in here. Really interesting chord progression, because the intensity in the song builds later when he beefs up the chords and makes them a little more well-defined than they do in the beginning. Interesting kind of story behind the song. You know, it may be your typical looking for the older woman kind of approach. Probably not. Sting may have been writing this song about his relationship with his guitar player, because they were about to head off separate ways. And of course, when the band started, Andy was kind of the established star, and Sting was the young apprentice. Anyway, this could be sort of a little dig at where they were going. One on the upswing and one on the downswing. Maybe not. I'll save the speculation for, I don't usually get into analyzing lyrics or anything like that. This is just a great tune, great classic video with the candles and all that stuff. I'm sure you've seen it. And, okay. Enough rambling. Oh, of course you probably know this is on Synchronicity, 1983. The last Police album before they went sort of separate ways, and Sting went off to start a moderately successful solo career. Wrote some great tunes and performed a lot of. Anyway, so okay, let's get into what we have to do to play Wrapped Around Your Finger. That was the first part of a lesson that I put together on Wrapped Around Your Finger, a song, as I mentioned there, one I've been thinking about doing for years, and finally got around to it. The lesson covers a lot of different things. There's the difficult way to play the opening. When I say difficult, it really just requires some stretches and some right hand technique. Easier way. There are a lot of different things in there, a lot of different ways to play the chords. We hear this little section and the little bouncy part. So, if you'd like to take a look at the lesson on Wrapped Around Your Finger, again, as I mentioned, it's part of the Target program at TotallyGuitars with well over 650 songs there now, and hundreds of other lessons on theory, technique, strumming techniques, understanding chord concepts and all that kind of stuff. So really just an incredible amount of information at TotallyGuitars. If you'd like to come check it out, I would certainly appreciate it. And there's also a lot of free stuff to get you rolling. Some pretty easy lessons. Wrapped around your fingers in the more difficult category for a few reasons. The rhythmic type of strumming that happens, the stretches that you need to play those guitar parts. And of course, what I do with a lot of lessons like this one is try to combine some of the different elements going on by different instruments. So it's more of a solo guitar version than you would hear if the band were going to do it or something like that. So we try to work in some of Andy's parts, some of Sting's parts, and even some of Stewart's parts as we build up the intensity at the last part of the chord progression. So anyway, the lesson on Wrapped Around Your Finger is up now at TotallyGuitars.